About to the roof.
I think it was the big Austin 6.
Mickey Boyle, Mickey, you're from Kappa.
That is right, Eamon.
In fact, the first thing I want to ask you, Mickey, is I remember you telling me 8 years ago about your working career up around Formas.
That's right.
Tell me about that.
I came up to Formas on the 19th of April. Let me see over years.
Go ahead, you want a nice trade?
Yeah, some of there.
It's about 40. I think it's about 41.
Right. The war was going good at the
The
time.
war was going good. I come to Skinner's up on the hill.
Was that the right name now, or was that a nickname?
No, Skinner there is the Irish name for Skevington.
Skevington's, right?
Skevington. Skinner, did you mean the fella in Tommy Lahorn's Jimmy Skinner there?
That's right.
One horn fella. Well, he was Skevington.
Well,
Skinner there was the Irish.
You were hard in it, Mike.
I was hard in it, surely. I was 3 days a week in it, and 3 days a week in Frank Otty's, Frank Munn's.
Right.
And you weren't idle, like there was a day's work for you every day in the week.
About 8.5.
And sometimes a day and a half.
Sometimes,
Well, then there's no time you'll get handy enough day.
That would have been the summertime, was it?
Oh, summer and winter.
Oh, you were hired for the year.
You done the 6 months. 6 months, and then you went on the next 6 months repeat again. You see.
Where were you hired originally? Where?
I was originally in Skevington.
But it wasn't at a Heron Fair, no.
Oh, not at all. No, you see,
No.
my mother and I was Paddy Skinner there would have been second cousins or something
Right.
like that.
What was your mother's maiden name?
She was Logue, and her father came from Ballykeel, where Packy Donnelly lived.
Right.
Who were beside the, you always would probably have a fair idea, but beside McGillian's. McGillian's.
That's up in that country too.
That's up there, surely on the right hand side as you come out of the cross heading up there.
I have an uncle actually married to Kathleen McGillian.
Have you so?
Probably the same McGillian. I wouldn't know an awful pile about them now other than to know Kathleen.
I know those.
But it was on the right hand side as you come out of the cross.
That's right, so that's true.
Well, what was the pay for the 6 months?
I used to pay was £12. £12 and a half a year.
£12.50 a year. That was right money, but then it
well, that was right money, but sure, there was very little money them days. Well, right after that, then the subsidies come on, £10 an acre on the flax on the spuds.
Right.
But before that, in the hungry 30s, there was nothing. You couldn't have got money. Money was very, very, very scarce. Oh my God, it was.
And you were one of a big family.
I was one of 12.
12 in your house, was it?
I never remember my father coming in with a week's wages.
No.
We were out on an own mountainy farm.
Yes.
And how we were heirs, I do not know. I can't, and to this day I can't.
Mickey Wonder.
Oh, Mickey Wonder, certainly.
Well, would he have worked in the country as well?
Worked in the country, helped the neighbours.
I suppose a lot of time there wouldn't have been much money for
There
it.
was no money at all. He worked for them and they'd come and help him to cut corn.
There would have been a swapping match.
Swapping match, that was it, certainly.
That was a custom of the country.
Certainly.
Well, my father always said that if them people, if they're not in heaven, he doesn't know
Pure
what.
chance for the rest of us.
Pure chance for the rest of it.
They've done their purgatory now.
That's quite true. Lord bless us when you think of it.
But
And how we're here, as we were talking this morning there downstairs, families, my mother, how the hell she reared us, I don't know. No gas, no electricity.
Not at all.
No
Out to
running
the
water.
well for water.
Out to the well with bucket in the can.
They had a hard life.
It was a hard life.
In other words, a
And
very
there was no
hard
milk
life.
man going round, and there was no bread man going round.
No way. Well, there's no washing machine.
Washing
or
machine.
anything like that.
And washing the spuds in a bucket with a bit of a stick.
With a beetle, we called it the beetle.
Beetle,
Right, bit of a
Stunt bit of a stick and give them a bit of a pound.
bit of a pound the spuds,
Pound.
pound the chomp. Talk about, and then you see the big pot, 10-gallon pot that was boiling there.
Aye. Something like
Well,
what
it's
we're
what's-
looking at down there.
Hey, it would have took about a bag of spuds
That's
to
what
do
it
it.
That's what it held 4 stone of spuds. Almost.
Well, that would have been boiled and there's only left then done the dog.
Done it up, there was a couple of pigs fatting, you see.
Yes.
And a lot of hens, a few hens, a lot of hens, as I say.
Hands were
A
running
lot
around.
of hens would be about a dozen and a half of hens running about.
The spuds that was left and all on a handful of meal and it was.
And you pounded that, you took the pounder again, you see, and you pounded that. And
Was that the same pound that was
the
used?
same pound that was
Oh, aye.
used. It was just like a paling post with a
Aye.
end around it.
That's right.
And they called that brock.
Right.
The mashed up spuds for the pigs and the
Skins and all.
skins and all.
Uh.
And the leavings of dinner, whatever it was, but very little left. And
Aye.
they called
It wouldn't have been chopped or nothing, anyway.
oh, no, like
Cabbage or.
No.
we'd be all like, we were all like a row of stairs, you know. There was only about maybe a year and 14 years from
Aye.
there.
Yeah.
Not a big gains.
A row of stairs, and there would be 5 or 6 of us would be at school together, you see.
Right.
You'd come home, and this pot of spuds was boiled, and it was heaved out in a basket.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
right.
set on the middle of the floor.
Aye.
And there was 2 or 3 eggs put on a pan, and a drop of milk, and it was fried in
Oh,
eggnog, you'd call it nowadays.
Right.
And there might be a bit of slice of bacon, or maybe 2,
Mm-hmm.
and that'd cut into wee chips, wee strips of bacon for your finger.
Oh,
Yeah.
make it
You get a
brown.
piece for every walk.
Oh, aye, make it brown.
And this 2 or 3 eggs were divided on maybe
Well,
6.
the eggnog, there was milk poured in on it.
Milk poured over
Right,
it,
That's,
certainly,
and
yes.
that made the eggs go
And maybe
farther.
a wee bit of flour.
Aye, it
You know,
does.
it was made up in a paste. and
Mate,
it was-
there wouldn't have been
Stir it
enough
up.
eggs to give you all the eggs
Oh,
a
not
piece.
at all, no
No.
way. Heaven's sake, not
Yeah.
at all. The hens couldn't lay it fast enough for us.
Uh,
And then, and then with the time there wouldn't be an egg till the blackboards and the crews would start laying, the hens would start laying.
That's right.
right.
And then there was full and plenty, then there was eggs, and there was
As long as there was plenty of
Spuds.
eggs, eggs was very important at that
very
time. Mick.
important on the cow and calf in the springtime.
Uh-huh.
And there was goats kept at ours, and the goats would maybe kid early in the spring.
You would have had milk then.
So we were reared on goats, man.
Yeah.
No better
And,
feeding you could, yeah.
That was the feeding we got.
Mhm, mhm.
And there was no biscuits bought, no fancy bread bought.
So maybe at Christmas some wee novelty.
Some wee novelty.
Aye, maybe
And,
some
and we'd be that eager to get a hold of it that my mother, she'd no matter where she would hide it in the house, we would come on it.
Oh, yeah, but
And she'd go to look, maybe somebody would come in and she'd go to make them a cup of tea
Aye.
and go to this wee novelty for them. And
Yes.
nothing only a paper bill.
and there'd be a
There's
an
too
odd,
many
an odd
eggs.
earworm
There'd
then.
be an inquest then,
Oh,
nobody seen anything, nobody knew
Yeah.
anything. But that was the way the thing was going. Like.
But as you said, your mother and father must have went through a terrible time trying to
that's
rear a
right,
big
John.
family.
You see, I didn't realise it then.
No,
you wouldn't.
do you
I
have
got
to?
married in 49 and our family came along and I would be unemployed whilst I was unemployment and the next thing then came along was family allowance.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that, I
Still
found
took
it
it all.
very hard to make the ends
Oh,
meet.
aye, surely.
But there was no family allowance, no unemployment, no sweet nothing.
Nothing. There was.
Sweet nothing. I can't never understand how
Missed
we
it. It definitely missed
It's
it.
a mystery to
And
me,
then that
even.
wasn't your. Every house was the
Every
same.
house was the same.
Every house in the country was the
That's
same.
just right, you see. You see,
That was one
The
maybe.
spuds.
That might have been one thing, was it? We had everybody was on the same
everybody was the
position.
same level.
Aye.
There was the spuds on the milk, the drop of milk in the
Mhm.
house, and anybody who lived in the, on a farm,
Oh,
on
aye.
Shabbat,
They were all right.
a few vegetables, cabbage,
Oh, aye,
carrots,
aye.
turnips, all this, that, and
Mhm.
that thing, and a few eggs, and milk.
Aye, plenty of milk
And
spuds, wasn't
anybody who lived in the town,
Aye, that
they had to buy all that.
Uh,
Even the fire, and they had to buy the coal, the turf.
Mhm.
We used to take turf from our country into the end, a load of turf.
Oh, aye, surely.
Yeah.
And you'd go around and you'd sell them.
seldom.
You sell them. If you could sell the load, you sold the load. If you got 2 or 3 shillings for the load, you sold it. And if you didn't sell the load, they couldn't afford to buy a load.
No,
You sold them a bag
Part of
of
it.
bag or two,
a
like
basket of whatever.
Yes.
And this was it. You see, the people in the towns they were far worse off.
Oh, they were the country.
The country
they were
people
the-
and the youngsters in the country were far healthier. And them days there was TB,
That's right.
TB and all this. I just knew him briefly.
Mhm.
I know Packy, Pat's son Packy he's living up in Eskera. Hey, you know Brian McCann's pub there on Over Road?
Yes,
Well, you turn off in there,
to the right,
head to the left, heading the fifth.
heading the Fenton.
And Lawrence McAnally, Lawrence O'Hagan. He's
Right.
living a bit home now. He lived in it. I remember when I had a dance in O'Hagan's barn on God, it's a long time ago. A big night in it, or Sunday night. They went to leave an off fella Johnny Gorman, he's dead and gone 2 there this year. And going to Higgins bar now, it was like going to the ballroom in Dublin.
Right.
So it's that time. And this powerful night, and later years then I got to know Lawrence O'Hagan, and Packy McKeown bought it, his next son, Terry's nephew. But God, I hadn't seen Terry or young, what do they call him? Packy. I didn't see Packy for years and years and years till I met him someplace or other. He was very, he took bad, whatever happened to him now, I don't know, someone came over him and he was very bad in the hospital and he was nearly dead.
Right.
And then when he got over and he got out of it, Tom O'Neill, my brother-in-law, he ended up that country collecting insurance, and he was in touch with the thing and he would be telling me, you see, about this. And God, I met Packy somewhere or other, I can't remember where the heck I met him. Was it a funeral or what or something? And I hadn't seen Packy for years and years and years. He used to cook down our part of the country. Him on, I tell you, that fellow was, he was Peter Hagen.
No, I knew Peter Hagen.
You know Peter Hagen?
Yeah, I know where he was, the house he used to go with Bridget McCarran.
Bridget McCarran is right. Him and wee Packy McCarran.
He played a bit of music.
Played a bit of music, that's right. Arthur McGarvey would be his uncle.
Oh, is that right? Aye, I don't know that.
McGarvey was his uncle.
I just know them, you.
And I remember, jeez, I remember coming home one morning, Monday morning. I was walking Frankie McBee's down to see her. Coming down the road on the bicycle and meeting Packy McKeown and Peter Hagen at the head of the lane.
On bikes.
On two bikes.
Why?
Heading home to Talta Muskin.
Yes.
Sunday morning, clear day late in the summer.
Stayed about the whole day.
Stayed about the whole day. But it's that time that there's a day late at 4
Off at home, see the good weather.
Well, here, Mickey, going back up to your days up in Formers, you worked 3 days in Addis and 3 in the North. Which house did you stop in?
Stopped in Skinner's.
Oh, you were not permanent?
IBC, he was a friend of my mother's.
Right, down.
My grandfather, John Logue, he came from, as I was telling you, McGillian's and Packy Donnelly's.
Right.
North side of the hill. And that's how I come to be down there.
And what time would the working day start at that time?
Oh, you'd start about 8 o'clock, half 8. You start in the morning, and well, he wasn't. They were quitting fair time around 7 o'clock, half 7. Depending on the winter time there, you'd be finished up after dark, just cattle and latties fed a lot of cattle, fattened cattle, bullocks and heifers and so on, and they grew a lot of turnips. Ploughed the field, it might have been maybe an acre and a half of ground in the field. They ploughed the field, made it ready for turnips, and that was sold.
With horses? With horses?
With horses. Oh, there was no tractors them days.
Did you work with horses?
Oh, definitely I worked with horses, sure.
Yeah.
I worked with a horse round places like that.
And that field was made ready, and the only machinery was the turnip sower. You push it along,
that's right.
It's so the turnips, you see.
That's right.
The horse pulled it?
The horse pulled it along.
Yeah.
And
Handy wee machine.
it was very handy, but anyhow, that was all right. The spuds was put in, the turnips was put in last, the spuds was, the oats was first.
That's right.
And the spuds was next. And
you sowed the oats by a fiddle, did you?
Oh, I sowed them by a
Horn.
Oh, at that time there was it's a white sheet,
Right.
a bed sheet.
Tied round your neck.
Tied round your neck, but there was a special way of tying it. I never knew how to tie it. And you got your elbow into it like this, the left hand. You got your elbow into it like that, and you held it. And you lifted this side. And that
Broadcasted,
and that seed oats was like gold dust. You wouldn't waste a pickle of it. It was so precious. You see, it was so
very precious.
very precious. And
What time of year was that sowed?
it was sowed about April.
Right.
April, and then the spuds was next. And if you had the spuds in for the 12th of May, it was deadly.
You were doing well.
It was counted late. And then there was an old saying that it never was too late for spuds as long as you could see a crow in an ash bush.
That's right.
And an ash tree, because the ash was the last till blew out in leaves, you see. But then you went to the bog and you cut the turf. And when the turf was cut, you come back home again, and the turnips were ready for thinning. And it was some job.
I never seen turnips in now. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I'll tell you about the turnips.
It was a bit old.
You got a bag. In ordinary, that time it was all Rego bags they talked about, you know. And you got that, and you put that, you got down on your knees and the drill.
Kneeling on the bike.
Kneeling on the bag.
Yeah.
Well, if you were manly enough and fit enough to stoop without kneeling, then the back would you bout. And you'd leave about, you know, you're allowed for the turnip to go about 6 inches in diameter. And you'd leave a wee bit of space in between them.
And they were growing tight, coming every.
Oh, they were going in a bunch.
Bunch, right?
They were growing as thick as my fingers were standing up there, and maybe twice as broad.
Yeah.
And you pulled out the weak ones all, and you left the good healthy one.
Right.
And then you spaced them out there, and the next one was about 6 or 8 inches.
And what did you do with the thinning?
Go through there.
They weren't
They
you.
went to loss, and anybody, there was plenty of people around the district, maybe had a wee piece, a couple of drills along the side of the spuds, and they called them dibblers,
Right.
the thinnings.
Well, they wouldn't have been liable to shoot, would they?
Oh, not at all. Oh, they were dead on.
They would have worked alright.
Oh, they would have worked brilliant. They needed plenty of manure,
Ah.
plenty of farmyard manure. That's one thing the turnip needed.
Ah.
Twice as much manure as the spud.
Right.
Oh, and there's no problem. You could grow them as good as the ones that are originally sown from the seed.
Right. And why did the boys thin them? They couldn't be bothered.
Oh, well, you see, to get them round, they wouldn't
Ah,
have
but
room to grow.
and they're no more ground ready for it.
There's no more ground ready. Well, now, if you had an acre and a half of spuds, I think,
Or turnips, you had enough.
You were quite sufficient.
Oh, that was sufficient for
Well, that was a tedious job. You were down on your
Thinning
knees,
them.
and you'd look from here to the head of the field, and you'd thin away for maybe an hour, and you look again, and you wouldn't very far from
You
the bottom
wouldn't
of
have
the field.
gained much.
By golly,
It was a
it
tedious
was
job.
a tedious, slow job.
Especially if you had a lot of it. It wasn't so bad if it was only a wee
Oh,
yard.
it was only a couple of, it'd be
but
different crack. You could do that in an hour or so.
You could let an
But,
acre or half an acre.
Gee, it was serious.
Terrible job.
And then them turnips was fed to kettle or put through, you threw them into the pulper.
That's right.
And,
When were they harvested after the spuds?
oh, aye, we went off the spuds. Oh, they would sit in the ground till the springtime again.
Oh, you can let them stay out.
Aye, you wouldn't have to
You'd only go out and lift what you wanted, would
lift
you?
what you wanted. Aye, you get called the snadding turnips.
Ah.
The scythe, the blade of the scythe, the nail blade that was done. You took it to the blacksmith and he cut the point of it.
Aye.
And
Left a bit for a hunnel.
a blade that length, and then a piece for a hang about 3 or 4 inches, and stuck a piece of wood on the end of that.
Yeah.
And you catch the turnip by the top, and you pull it out.
Sned the roots off it.
Snare the roots
That's
off it,
right.
and
Knock
then
the flea off her.
you knock the top off her, and you threw it into the cart,
Aye.
and you
Oh,
brought
you
that-
went out in the horse and cart for them?
That's the cart, aye.
Oh, you
Well,
did
you
the
would go out first, and you'd snare the load. You see, you throw it in pails there. You'd pull out near the door there, and you throw that in the pail there, and then you go on and you start another pail. Then you go down with your cart, then you.
That wouldn't be a warm job pulling them in a winter.
It
summer.
was always in the winter day, and the snow and frost and everything else.
And no gloves that time.
Oh, gloves wasn't it? You're
They could hardly wash the dishes now with a pair of gloves.
You call the sissy if you're wearing gloves, like that. Sort of work. My God, it made it too serious. Gee, farming now wasn't. It was no soft job.
No, it was all hard work. You
It was
see
all
that.
hard work, definitely.
And then mowing and digging
Oh,
sponge and all that.
Well, there wasn't so much mowing on the scythe then.
You opened the field with a scythe.
Oh, you definitely opened the field with a scythe. You cut all the corners. You went even the hay field.
Oh, aye.
You know, then, and at that time it was the horse and the mowing machine, 2 horses and the mowing machine.
She wouldn't go into the corner.
She went to the corner, she came round.
She had around you.
And if you were a thrifty farmer, you had to mow the corners.
Know the
And you
corner.
mowed that,
Oh, aye, into the
and
bottom
4
of it.
corners.
And
then
threw
you
it
started-
out that it would drive
And then
it.
whenever you're finished, you threw it along with the rest.
Yeah.
And then that had to be all shook out.
That'd be all teased out.
And you weren't supposed to do it with a pitchfork.
No, they want you to stick it in
wasn't.
your hands
And shake it right
Aye.
and spread it evenly.
Aye.
And when you done that, then you took the fork again and you turned it. You went straight across.
Turned it out of the swathe. I turned it with a fork.
You
Yeah,
did,
I'm sure you did.
That's right,
Yeah.
certainly you did.
Tip
the
it
drain
over, there's a knack in it.
There was an act
was,
sure
yeah.
if you come the wrong way, it was harder to do.
Of course.
You had to come again it.
That's right.
See,
Yeah,
it-
probably you would
turn
lift
it
her
over,
better.
lift
Lift
it
her
up.
better with you.
And then the next thing then it was ready for lapping.
Aye, that was a hard work.
And you took your rake and you started and you raked it
You just
in and you were raking in the front, and I come behind and I grabbed it and shook this again.
And tuck the two sides in.
That's right.
You took the two sides in on the top, you locked it over like that,
Yeah.
and then you lifted it and you,
Sat up and it was sitting up
it was sitting up,
Up,
frozen, you see, and tidy.
and nothing open that the rain run off it.
The rain ran off.
If there was rain.
And it sat there for a few days, and the weather was good then. You went along and you took your fork and you tipped them over, the bottom side up,
Right.
Let it get the
and then you built it in cocks then through the field. And there was a neck and that too. There was some people who were really good on that. There was others very, very. Oh, I couldn't build them one that could fly in the air.
No way.
Well, there was a couple some forking and a man trampling it, wasn't
If it was dry enough, you tramp it. And
Yeah,
if it wasn't dry enough, you
just
put
put her up
on
on
the
the
fork.
it?
Someone called it doodling hay. If the hay
Putting it
wasn't-
up without tramping.
Without tramping, and you made them small.
Right.
If the weather wasn't too good,
Uh-huh.
you made them small and they were sitting loose, you see.
Yeah.
And the air would get through them.
Right.
And that's the way a lot of it is saved. And those men, you know the man every year across the face of the hill under Peter Quinn.
Oh, aye.
And what the weather was like, he lopped every
Oh, aye.
pick of hay he had.
That's
Because
correct.
it wasn't properly saved, it wasn't lopped. That was his version of it.
That was the version of a lot of their
Yeah.
Nearly had it lapped anyway.
It had a bit up no matter what how good the weather was.
It wasn't counted saved unless it was a real golden colour.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's right.
Where now they would bail it net green.
Oh,
As
as
long as it was
soon
dry.
as it's cut,
Not
it's
long
being
ago,
grown.
Douglas
That's it.
failed. Aye.
Oh, definitely. There's some change in the farming business.
Well, would you have brought the hay in then on a hay cart?
On the hay cart, a float.
A float.
The float came along.
She tipped up,
It used to be before that,
Aye.
you took the cart out and you built it on the cart.
forked it onto it.
Forked it onto it.
Aye.
Right.
And there was men very efficient for building it on the cart.
Could get the maximum amount of stuff in it.
Aye.
That's right.
You,
And a load
Yeah.
short way.
you started out on the corner and then this corner and then you put another wisp in the middle. And that
Right.
held the two corners together.
Yeah.
Right.
And the same at the back.
Right.
And when you were finished, the front was sitting up and away out over the horse's back.
So we had to
Right.
understand.
Sitting out in that shape.
Right.
Right.
And down and then to slope down at the back. And it was in like
Tucked
that
in
at
there.
the back.
It must have been nice to see. I never
Oh,
saw
it was an art. It was really an art.
Right.
Those men could do it.
Man, great.
And those men
Were you
couldn't.
good at it?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say I was very good at it.
You could do it.
I could do it all right,
Yeah.
reasonable, you know.
Yeah.
But I wasn't professional like.
No.
And the same with the building the sheaves of corn.
Oh,
Men,
aye.
millions of that
Stacks of
too.
corn.
Stacks of
Sure.
corn and
Aye.
loads of corn on a cart.
Oh, aye.
And then the next thing come along then was the float. They called it the float.
Aye.
It was a flat bodied yoke. And it tipped up.
And there was tin near the end of
There
her.
was tin,
No,
on
it's a
the
bit
tail of
longer.
it.
You reversed her into the cock of hay.
You went along and you pulled up the end of the cock of hay like that,
Ah,
where you
that's right.
put the float in, and you backed that in,
Uh,
and then you put the two, there was
A rope,
a
a ratchet on a
ratchet, and
uh,
you release this ratchet and you pull the two ropes back,
uh,
and the clasp into oil like that at the back,
yeah.
and you started and you winded that up.
Or did you wind it, or was there some of them with a back?
Some of them was a lever like
a
this.
lever.
Some of them
The one I saw was a lever.
Aye.
Right.
No,
But the lever
Clonmel had
was-
a.
the lever was a better job because the winding up.
No, I know.
He had
It
the
was
same-
hard.
It was hard. He had the
Yeah.
same power. But I remember when I was in Nappies and there was a great big mare. It was a mighty animal and very quiet.
Mhm.
And I was sticking in the hay this day anyway and tipped up the float, put the ropes round the back of the cock of hay, and I started lever it up on the float, you see, and she got very fidgety and moving about.
Aye.
I was wondering what was
What
wrong
was
because it
wrong
was
with
very,
you
very
or something?
quiet.
Uh,
But she had a switch tail, you see.
got caught in the
Got
ratchet.
caught in the ratchet.
Oh dear.
And only she was a very, very quiet.
Aye,
She should have wrecked the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'd left the cart over the town long.
Ah,
Should
but
have
she was-
run
the
it.
tail was as tight as a fiddlestring. I tell you,
Aye.
it nearly pulled the tail.
Well, how did you get it released
Well,
then?
I had to go way back and
Right.
release the ratchet, you see.
Slack
the rope.
Uh,
And it wasn't in a second or two on that.
No,
And
it wasn't.
got it released again and got it sorted
all
out.
over again.
Oh, no, it was
Well then, when the ratchet pulled the cock of hay right up onto the cart, it overbalanced and the cart dropped down.
That's
Dropped
right.
down,
And
flat.
there was a wee notch that held her in
Well,
place.
you'd have brought that back to Haggard then.
Back to the Haggard,
Right.
that was built in what they call the pack.
And for people that wouldn't know, Haggard was a wee plot of ground near the farmyard that was
Yes.
fenced off.
Fenced off. And the stead was bit with stones somewhere,
Aye, some of them was.
raised up.
Right, to keep the
And
water in
then
it.
you cut a hedge of someone, and you put
Bushes.
Put a lot of
bushes
sticks.
Aye.
in, thorns or whatever it was, and you built your start and built your hay on top of that. And
She sat down.
I saw and you mentioned seeing your time too in Windsor Killahara.
I did the iron
The
stick.
iron stead.
Yes.
It was like you know what an oven is there.
Right,
The
yeah.
big dead oven with 3 feet on them.
Sure
Yeah.
that only
Well,
wider.
there was no side on it. It was just a big round metal
Yeah.
yoke,
Uh-huh.
and that was set out in the garden.
Aye. I've never seen one of them.
Did you not?
Them would have been scary.
Oh, there
yes.
was, I had never seen them anywhere else.
Except at Quinns and Killahara, it's the only place ever I seen.
That's the only place
That
I
was
seen
out
it.
in the Haggard.
And for the people that wouldn't know, on the farms them days, it wasn't near the same amount of buildings, but there was no barn
Oh,
for
not
years.
at all. There was, oh no.
No,
The next thing came along was the hay sheds.
Aye.
And the man that put a hay shed up, he was
He was wealthy.
top of the world.
He was a big farmer.
Oh, you
Yeah.
drew in the cups of hay and you built it up there and it held all the hay and it would hold 2 men's hay.
Well, the corn and all, it was stacked out in
It
the
was all
haggard.
stacked out.
No,
There was no
haggard.
housing for the corn.
Aye.
And it was thatched and roped. There was an art in the building of the corn too and the topping of it.
No, it had to be now.
Put it up into the point, you see.
Aye.
And I'll tell you, those men could build a stack of corn, he could top it there to split a hailstone.
That's right.
he was pretty accurate.
He was brave and accurate, or else the hailstones was bigger.
Aye.
But you thatched it and it roped it and they made the ropes out of the hay.
I twisted the rope.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't use the best hay now, you'd go to,
Aye.
it was cut out an iron matter or something.
That's right.
What they call split, it was between a rush and
It was a tough.
it was a tough way, a
But-
smallish thing, but very tough.
Uh,
Long, lean grass, you know, and that. And you dry that, and that made a good tough rope. And the,
for making the rope, it was a thing like a starting handle for a Morris
the
8, was it?
same thing with the hook on the end of it.
Hook on the end
I
of
called
it.
it the traw hook. I heard it discussed on the radio here only about
Aye.
14 ago,
Aye.
one morning.
You laced your hay into that, and then a man fed it to
He
you.
fed it to you and
Aye.
you kept twisting and walking back.
Aye.
He was stationary.
Aye.
And
He had the bundle of hay here.
he kept it
And
into
there was an art in
and
feeding
putting it
into
on.
putting
Right.
it on.
Surely.
Right.
And you made it so long, and then you started and you won it up,
Mm.
rolled it
Round
all
her
up.
up in the bowl.
And whenever if you're roping packs of hay and core sticks, it was like a big turkey egg.
Oh,
You're
I
not
see.
round it up, you know.
That's right. It took a very long rope to go around and pack a hay.
Oh, boys, it's like a mile rope to go around.
It took 2 of them.
And you started and you roped that from,
Aye.
but that height up.
Aye. That's
Started on
right.
the ring of the stack, you see, with it.
Aye.
You built the stack, you started on her like that and you brought her out. And then you took her in like this.
Right.
And you started on the ring.
That's
And
right.
you stuck a peg into the hay like that. And you tied your rope to that.
That's
So you
right.
round with your first rope and then you go
Right.
around and you lapped around that peg and
That's
that
right.
tightened it.
Oh,
And then you went on and you kept about 6 inches apart from that
Aye.
lap to the next one.
Aye.
And you went on till you went to the very top.
Up to the
And then
top.
you put on your cross ropes there.
That's right. 2 cross ropes.
2 cross ropes, maybe 3,
Maybe
and sometimes
3,
4,
yeah.
depending if it was exposed to
Aye,
Well,
depends on where she was sitting.
where she was sitting, if it was exposed to the weather.
Well, they always like them haggards in near a good hay hedge in
Oh,
the
good
corner.
hay with a bit of shelter.
Bit of
right.
shelter.
Aye, that's right, and convenient to the
the
stables
farm,
and
aye.
fires and so on. Oh, definitely, that was
Well, you started up in that farmer's country in 41, as you were saying.
41, that's right.
What about 6 years later? Were you still up there?
No,
Where were you in 47 when the
47.
bad winter come?
Oh, I was at home that year.
You were
That's
lucky.
right, I was, I think about 46. 46, I came home in 46 about November. You see, that was the end of the hiring stage.
Aye.
It's the end of your term.
Came home then, and that winter then, the next 47 started off, and there was an east wind, what they call a black frost,
Aye.
and it freeze for 6 weeks.
Oh,
And
bad in the mind
it
as well.
was some frost,
Shocking.
and